So we're back up at the start here for a recap of the Prince of Wales Challenge Cup race between Glasgow University on the Berkshire station and on the Buck station, the Black Sheep Rowing Club and the University of West of England. And they're on the right-hand side, and just some steering difficulties here. Very tricky in these Coxless Quads events, and the umpire has very firmly waving that flag to the right-hand side, Adrian.
Yeah, they're warning Black Sheep to get back over to their station. I mean, they're in the middle of the course now, really compressing the space for Glasgow.
And really tricky for the steersperson of this composite crew from Black Sheep R.C. and U.W.E. The first race that they had together was 2 weeks ago at Henley Regatta. And
they managed to take advantage of it. They got themselves out to half a length lead despite the steering in the middle of the course. So let's see now if they can get into a good solid rhythm, whether they can keep this going. But it looks like Glasgow settled into something a bit stronger now and just starting to move through that advantage.
Yeah, a tight race off the end of the island, and I know that doesn't necessarily equate to a tight race later down the course. But as it stands at the moment, the composite crew, and I assume Black Sheep Rowing Club, the alumni from the University of the West of England, it would certainly make sense to me. And you can see the different rowing suit there in the three-seat. Mr. Clark, the crew stroked by Danny Mulligan, who sits just in front of him.
And here you can see that they moved out, and then Glasgow were gaining, and then looked like Black Sheep did a push and held them off for quite a bit. And now Glasgow are starting to make their way through again, just pegging stroke by stroke. It's still going to be a while till we find out what's going on with how these crews.
And the Prince of Wales, you know, this is an intermediate event here, Adrian, and as we come towards the centre part of the course now, certainly starting to show that jumping into a crew with 2 weeks to go is a very difficult ask in this very high level calibre event.
It is, and these athletes from Scotland have been racing quite a bit. They've been racing for Strathclyde University and for Glasgow University, and they've got quite a lot of experience racing north of the border. Some of these athletes, it's the second time, it's after 2 years, the first time they've come down here to race, and they're doing a good job.
So we're still catching up. This is the first part of this race in the Prince of Wales Challenge Cup between Glasgow University on the right-hand side of your picture and that composite crew from Black Sheep Rowing Club and the University of West of England just in the background there that we're focusing on.
They're keeping it together on the Black Sheep, even though they're down a length. They're not falling apart, they're still rowing the same rhythm. They just tough this out. Maybe they'll find a weak moment in Glasgow and maybe start to put some pressure on them.
I'm going to see in just a few moments' time where that crew's got to. A little look there over the shoulder of Henry Fletcher in the bow seat, representing that U.W.E. Black Sheep Rowing Club crew. And we're now jumping to those live pictures. And Glasgow University, wow, they've really lengthened out and gotten comfortable. I think settled now, actually. They were a little bit flustered off the start, but that comfort has given them clear water.
Yeah, I think as they've got a little bit more clear water, they've relaxed and let the boat do more of the work instead of just always working hard, both in the drive and the recovery. They've actually relaxed in the recovery and let the boat do some of the work. And really good blade work here. It's very uniform movement. It's a real credit to the coaching. Guys really sculling quite a nice rhythm there.
Yeah, and as you attested to earlier, Adrian, this crew here, a bit of a combination of athletes that have raced for their university, student athletes who have raced at Strathclyde University, who've come together to row under the Glasgow University programme that train up on the west coast of Scotland, on the Clyde. You know, I wouldn't usually associate Glasgow University with sculling boats, actually, and this is a really well put together crew.
It is really well put together and really well drilled, doing a great job of it here. Just looking at Andrew Mortimer here, who he regularly goes sculling on Loch Lomond. I mean, that's one of the most fantastic waterways in the UK. To go sculling on there, that's what a privilege.
And very windy, I can certainly assure you. It prepares you well for dealing with these huge headwind conditions rowing on Loch Lomond. So he will be well prepared for that. This will be a walk in the park in comparison. And what a lovely side shot there, this crew moving their bodies together through the steward's enclosure into these final few metres. And that will be a real triumph for them to see them through if the result still stands, and too much to go here for Black Sheep R.C. and the University of West of England moments before the line, but Glasgow University will be delighted to make it to a round of the Prince of Wales, Adrian.
Yeah, great race there. You can still see they're working quite hard towards the end.
So we'll get confirmation of the result of that heat of the Prince of Wales Challenge Cup in just a moment's time. And there it is. Glasgow University will progress through, beating Black Sheep Rowing Club and the University of West of England in the Prince of Wales Challenge Cup.